Welcome to our presentation on how to schedule activities in Outlook and have them connect to the correct link in ACT. First, let's address the issue of the importance of the proper link, especially coming from data coming into ACT. When you have the proper links, it connects the appointment that you create on the smartphone or in Outlook or Exchange and connects it to the correct contact in ACT. When the appointment is opened in ACT, the correct contact are listed. It also establishes the proper relationship between the appointments on the contacts right off the bat, so you don't have to go back into ACT and redo the whole linking of the appointments. And in today's world, there's no real standardized mechanism to connect the appointments from smartphones and Exchange to contacts in ACT. So we've come up with a couple of mechanisms that we can do that. What we have here is an Outlook appointment. So 123Sync offers three different mechanisms to link an Outlook appointment to a contact in ACT. You can use any one of those three or all three mechanisms. What we do, we take all the links that are on the appointment and we put into ACT. The first methodology we use is what is called the contact link. In Outlook, you can link an appointment to a contact by clicking on the Contacts button here, and that establishes a link to the contacts. The second methodology we provide is the recipients list. These, from what we've seen, are recipients that are part of an email. So if you get an email invitation, the recipients of the meeting are going to be on the recipient list. So here we find these email addresses, match them to ACT, and then attach the appointment to the ACT contact. The third methodology is what we call the location field. This is only used by 123Sync. And here you can actually put the contact address or the email address or the contact name in parentheses, and we will match that contact over to the ACT contact and then just link the appointment to that contact. So first, let's look at our contact links methodology. The contact links are primarily used by Outlook and Exchange only. You need an Outlook interface in order to establish the link between the appointment and the contact. And you do that by clicking on the Contacts button and you get a list. We'll show that in a minute. And in order for us to establish the link between the appointment and the contacts, both the contacts and the calendar have to be syncing with the Outlook or Exchange folders so we can establish the correct relationship. So let's have a look at 123Sync and see how our settings are. What we have is we've got a user test here, which is our test user, and we have the contacts that match the contacts folder in Outlook. Behind it we have Outlook. So what we have, we've selected the contacts folder in contacts here, and then we have the calendar folder that matches the calendar folder in Outlook. And those are the two that we're going to be using here. And what we have, we make sure that all the contacts, all the processing filters are actually set to process all contacts. So when we start a new calendar item in Outlook, what we want to do is we start it here, and now we have the new calendar item. And below you will find the contacts link. So if you click on the contacts here, you will see this is the folder that's been selected. And that is the folder that we're syncing to. So if you select any other contacts folder, the link is going to be invalid. So you have to have the contacts folder that actually exists and that 123Sync is syncing to. So you just select the contacts, click here, click on apply, and now you have a link between this particular meeting with CG. So you have a link between this particular meeting and the contact. So I just click on save, and we get a warning here that we're due. But now you have a meeting that if you double click on it, you can actually see that it's actually linked to the contact. So when this meeting gets brought over to ACT, it will have the contact in it. So now let's go to 123Sync, just to the straight sync. We'll click on sync users. It will sync to user. We'll just go through the data and find out what needs to be brought over from Outlook over to ACT. And then we get this is the meeting. So now we just click on synchronize here and then just close it. We also know that the prompt to add the item from Outlook to ACT only comes up when you're actually running 123Sync in interactive mode. If you're running it in the background, it will automatically add from from Outlook over to ACT, and vice versa from ACT over to Outlook. So what we do, we go to the ACT database, and we just look at the task list, and there it is, McGuire. So if we open it, it's been scheduled with the right person. So if you're syncing both contacts and calendar, and if you use the contacts links, those links actually make it over to ACT and match to the correct contact. So now let's look at our second methodology of linking activities to contacts in ACT. One of them is when you send an email out, you have a recipient list, and the recipient list is listed right on the to line of the meeting invitation. So what we've seen, this is used by Outlook and Exchange and smartphones. The iPhone uses a lot. You send a meeting invitation to people, and people then participate in that meeting. It can be a one-to-one or even one-to-many, and everybody then gets incorporated into the meeting. The calendar appointment is emailed, and the recipients, when they accept, they're added to the list. And what we do, we take the recipients of the meeting and match the email address to the recipient. So if the recipient has an email address, it will be matched. So let's just take our existing meeting that we have with McGuire. We'll click here, and we already have linked with the McGuire. So let's just add some more people. Let's just invite some attendees. And you click on invite attendees, you get the 2. And here we can just go say, okay, let's go to Alison Mikola. We included, let's include him. Let's include Annette Sharkey. So what you have to make sure is the people you include that they actually have an email address. If they have a business fax or anything like that with no email address, we won't be able to do a match using this particular methodology of the recipients. So for the recipients methodology, you do need an email address. You just say OK, and then just send. Send anyway. Let's just go like this, and now everybody's sent. So everybody has been you'll have the list on the actual meeting. So let's go back to 123Sync. Click on the synchronizer button. That will then synchronize the activities in Outlook and ACT and see what modifications have come up. And sure enough, it comes up that there's been a difference on the number of links between ACT and Outlook, and it will update. Click on sync, and that's it. So now we go to ACT and click F5 to refresh. And what we see here now is all the contacts now have been added to the list of contacts that are part of this meeting. Annette Sharkey has 2 records, they're duplicates on the database, so those 2 records are there. So now to the most exciting new feature that the 123Sync 2013 is the usage of the location field. This feature is only available on 123Sync 2013 and the latest version 15.2 that's been installed on that you can download from our website. Here you can actually, on the location field of the activity, you can put in the users or the contacts that you want to link to the activity. In this case it would be Chris Huffman, Betty Browser, and the recipients on this list can be its first last name or just last name or email address. So each recipient has to be separated by a comma. So this is a location field right there, and then we just enter which recipients we want to schedule this particular activity. In this case, for example, you can put Chris Huffman, Betty Browser or Browser just for the last name, and then janet@huffman.com, and these three then, and 123sync will then take this list and then parse it and then match it to the contacts in ACT. So let's go back to Outlook now and look at our appointment. Here we open the appointment. We have the two that we set up and with the contact link here. And on the body text, we have the listing that 123sync puts of everybody that's actually involved in this particular meeting. And that includes the people from the to field and the people that are linked to it. So now let's just extend our concept and say, okay, sometimes there's no links and you don't send an email invitation. So we have a very easy way of actually adding links to it. So if you just open the brackets and say Browser, which is the last name of Betty Browser, Chris Huffman, and then let's just add an email address, janet@huffman.com. This way we've created now, what we want to do is add these three more people to the meeting. And what 123sync will do, it will go through the location field, find that we have people that we've assigned there, and then incorporate them into the meeting. Let's click on Send Update, say Send. Okay. So here we are. Let's just go to 123sync, click on 123sync, just say Sync Users, and then that will go through the updates, find the actual update on the meeting, and then said, oh, let's update ACT. Okay, let's go update ACT, say yes, and now the ACT meeting has been updated. So let's go to ACT, let's go F5 to refresh, and then if you go here we can look at the contacts. Now we have all the contacts. We have Janet Huffman that I picked up from the email address, Chris Huffman, and then Betty Browser, there she is. So what we're doing is you can use any of these three fields to incorporate or to include items into your ACT meeting. So let's just play a little bit more with an appointment that we use the location field. I think that's quite important. So let's just create a new appointment here. Just go appointment 2, and I think most of appointments coming from, especially from smartphones and from from external devices, are going to come this way. So on the location field we can just say we're going to have it in San Francisco, and we're going to have it with the same thing here, Betty Browser and janet@huffman.com. So what we're saying is we're going to have the second appointment on the location with San Francisco, and then Betty Browser and Janet in parentheses, because the parentheses are going to indicate where or that there are contacts in here. So we just click Save and Close. So it's just telling me that that's happening now, so we just dismiss it. But now let's just sync it using the synchronizer. So if you click on Sync, that will go through the database, find out all the new items in the database, and then it should prompt me to add it. Okay, let's add this to ACT. So click on Synchronize, add it to ACT. So let's just go to ACT and see what happens. Let's go to the task list, click F5 to refresh. So F5, appointment 2. So what we have appointment 2 here now, it's with Betty Browser and with Janet Huffman. So we can look on the contacts, and here we are. We've scheduled with the two of them. So let's go to Outlook now and see what happened to the appointment obviously here's the appointment, and the subject line has been changed because 123Sync has said, okay, we've already scheduled it, and now we've processed it. So if you double click on this, you will see first that on the subject meeting, on the subject line, there is the people that are involved in the appointments. And that is something that you can set or disable, but we have it enabled here. And there's appointment 2. The interesting part is once we incorporate the appointment into ACT, we remove the individuals that are on the location. So the location becomes real. So there's nothing else there that is cluttering the location field. So on top of that, we actually go and list the people that are involved in the appointment. And here we have the contact details. And there we have Janet Huffman and Betty Browser, which are the 2 people that are listed on the appointment. So by simply opening the appointment, not only do you get the names, but you also get all the details that are actually that exist on the ACT database. So just to finalize, again, there are 3 ways of actually linking contacts to ACT to the appointments. One of them is through the contact link, which is something that's done in Outlook. The second one is through the recipient list, which is something that's done via email, where you invite people using the email invitation capabilities of Outlook and the smartphones. And the third one is by simply specifying on the location who you want the appointment to be in. Either one of these, either on its own or together with all the other methodologies, 123Sync, we go into ACT and link those contacts over to that activity. Thank you for watching our presentation on how to connect activities from Outlook and smartphones to contacts in ACT. This concludes the presentation, and if you have any more information, just contact 123sync.com or your local reseller. Thank you.